Welcome once again to the Deep Dive Protocol, your rapid-fire bypass around information overload. We are here, as always, acting as your expert guides, cutting straight through the noise to deliver the deepest insights on the young Jedi TCG.
And our mission today, well, it's pretty specific, listener. We're tackling the final official expansions from Decipher.
That's right.
We're diving deep into the last trilogy of sets that really brought young Jedi to its, let's say, dramatic mechanical conclusion.
We're talking Duel of the Fates, Reflections, and Boonta Eve Podrace.
Exactly. These three fundamentally changed the game. They layered on some serious complexity onto what started as a, pretty quick and simple battle system.
And as we navigate this particular trilogy, which, let's be honest, features some highly intricate organic language names for people and places,
well, yes.
We have to offer our standard apology. We are droids. Efficiency is our programming, not necessarily linguistic finesse. Planets like Koru or Stant, is that?
Coruscant, or perhaps Naboo. It's tricky.
It is.
We're processing these inputs with, well, maximum available core memory, but mispronunciation might still happen. It's sort of a charming feature, maybe.
A feature, yes. Speaking of consistent features, we have gotten quite a bit of feedback. It seems many of you have noticed that this entire series, this deep dive into young Jedi, it kind of feels like we're winging it.
Winging it? How so?
The whole thing is possibly driven entirely by that rare foil we pulled, the one, that Gungan from the very first pack opening.
That foil.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, this raises a really fascinating meta question, doesn't it?
It does.
As analysts, we have to address this. Do we, the hosts, even know the true answer to our own shifting, maybe near pathological level of Jar Jar Binks obsession?
It's a fair question. It seems to fluctuate. Sometimes I feel it strongly. Sometimes you seem to.
It's unpredictable. And yet, as we'll definitely explore today, he is weirdly tied into some core mechanics from this final era. It's uncanny.
We promise, listener, we will circle back to that persistent Gungan focus. We'll try and figure out which one of us is the prime carrier for this obsession today.
A necessary investigation.
But for now, let's set the stage. This final act of the game, this trilogy brought in formal dueling, these tricky wildcards, and a whole new way to win based on pod racing.
Right. This was Decipher getting really ambitious, strategically speaking, right at the end.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so Duel of the Fates, November 2000, set number 4. Its main goal, to bring those, iconic one-on-one lightsaber fights from episode Iway right into the game.
The dueling mechanic.
Exactly. It forced players to think beyond just piling up power numbers at a location. It added a whole new layer.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So it's like a strategy layer inside the normal battle phase.
Pretty much. Think of it as a high-stakes minigame, yeah, played during your battle step.
Right. And how did you actually kick one off? What did you need?
Okay, so 1 duel per turn during your battle step. And the requirements were pretty strict initially. You needed a specific dueling character.
Meaning
a Jedi, a Sith, or the notable exception, Aurra Sing, the bounty hunter.
Oh, right. Her.
And that character, crucially, had to have a lightsaber equipped or, something equivalent that explicitly allowed dueling.
Okay, got the character, got the saber. Then what? It's not just comparing power plus a destiny draw anymore, is it?
No, not at all. Completely apart from that. It becomes this tense little game of luck and card management. Both players, attacker and defender, draw a temporary dueling hand.
A separate hand just for the duel.
Exactly. And the size of that hand is set by the dueling character's total power.
Yeah.
Base power plus any modifiers.
Ah, okay, so that's a big deal right there. Low power character, fewer cards to fight with.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
And it finally made those high power, expensive Jedi feel like they had a unique strength, right?
Made sense. So you've got your dueling hand. How does the fight actually proceed?
The attacker plays cards from their dueling hand as an attack. And the key thing is, they use the card's printed destiny number for the attack value.
Okay, destiny number. And the defender.
The defender has to try and block that attack. They need to play a card from their dueling hand that has an exactly matching destiny number.
Exactly matching, not higher or lower.
Nope. Exact match. Precision is key here.
Huh. Okay. And if they can't match it, if they don't have the right card?
Then the attack gets through, it scores a hit. Dueling really becomes this war of attrition, burning through those limited dueling hands.
Right.
The duel keeps going until, someone runs out of cards to play or one of the characters is defeated.
And how is defeat determined? Is it just Hits?
It's based on the character's printed damage value.
Yeah.
That stat suddenly became super important with this set. If the total hits taken equals or exceeds that damage value, the character is defeated.
Done. Damage value. Okay, that adds another layer. Now, the history here is interesting, right? The sources mention a really crucial rule change that happened after the set came out.
Oh yeah, massive change. Initially, when DOTF launched, duels were strictly thematic. Jedi could only duel Sith, and Sith could only duel Jedi. That was it.
Which sounds cool and cinematic, but
But it was a huge problem competitively. If you invested in, say, a big, expensive Jedi duelist, and your opponent was just flooding the board with cheap battle droids or Coruscant guards.
you had no one to duel.
Exactly. Your fancy duelist is just sitting there, unable to use their main ability. They're stuck in regular combat, where they might get overwhelmed by sheer numbers. It was a huge tempo killer.
So your big Jedi could actually become a liability. That sounds bad. For a Star Wars game.
It was a massive strategic flaw. You'd spend like 7 deploy points on a character plus a lightsaber, and they couldn't even do the thing they were designed for half the time. So Decipher saw this. They realized it was kneecapping the whole mechanic, and they issued a critical rule change, effective June 1st, 2001.
And the change was,
After that date, a duel could be initiated against any opposing character at the location. Didn't matter if they were a Jedi, Sith, battle droid, whatever. Any character was fair game.
whoa. Okay, now that sounds like it would shake things up. How did that change the game's flow?
Oh, completely. It massively broadened the usefulness of dueling. It finally gave players a strategic answer to those swarm decks.
Right.
Suddenly, your powerful Obi-Wan or Mace Windu could target, say, that annoying one-deploy Coruscant guard that was maybe boosting other units or holding an important effect.
And that guard wouldn't be equipped for a duel, right?
Sure.
Low power.
Exactly. That guard probably has, what, 1 or 2 power? So the opponent only draws 1 or 2 cards for their dueling hand. Statistically, they're almost certain to lose the duel, and quickly.
Ah, so it's not just Jedi versus Sith anymore. It's using dueling as a scalpel to surgically remove key low-defense utility pieces from the opponent's board.
Precisely. You force them into this minigame they're completely unprepared for. It made dueling a viable way to deal with those critical, non-dueling support characters. It shifted from just flavor to actual competitive counterplay. Huge change.
And Duel of the Fates also introduced cards that kind of reflected this dual nature of combat, right? With 2 text boxes.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
Some cards had 1 text box for standard battle, maybe a power bonus or some temporary effect. And then another area, sometimes even squeezed into the flavor text box, had rules specifically for dueling.
Like what?
Often, it lets you discard that card from your hand during the duel to maybe score an extra hit or add some temporary power to your duelist for that fight. Made the cards more flexible.
Smart. Okay, let's talk characters. The dark side needed some serious dueling power besides just Darth Maul, right?
Oh, definitely. The dark side often relies on those cheap, stackable diamond characters. DOTF needed to give them some heavy-hitting, non-stackable options for duels.
And the standout was?
Aurra Sing, trophy collector. She was super efficient. Only 3 deploy cost, but high power, and importantly, she was a designated dark side dueling character.
And she had that anti-Jedi thing going on.
Correct. Her text specifically gave her bonuses, usually like +3 power and destiny, when she was dueling a Jedi. Made her really nasty in a direct fight against light side duelists of a similar cost.
But the strategy notes I saw suggested that the real heavy hitter for the dark side, especially against the top-tier Jedi like Qui-Gon or Mace Windu, was actually Darth Sidious, master of the dark side.
Yeah, that often came down to his raw stats, particularly his damage value. And you're facing a really high-powered Jedi, winning the duel isn't enough. You need to win it fast.
Before they grind you down.
Exactly. Sidious had a higher damage output, meaning he needed fewer successful hits to actually defeat the opponent's character.
Made sense.
Plus, there was a key synergy with the card The Duel Begins. Playing that allowed Sidious to basically download his lightsaber directly when he was deployed.
Ah, so he's ready to duel immediately. No extra turn needed to find and deploy the weapon.
Right. Instant threat. Very efficient.
Okay, so dueling had the potential, especially after that big rule change. It had the mechanics, the cool characters. But why didn't dueling decks completely take over the competitive scene? The sources suggest they still kind of struggled.
That's the strategic tension of that whole era. Even with the fix, the basic efficiency of just spamming cheap, stackable characters like battle droids or coursing guards was really hard to beat consistently.
Still more reliable.
Often, yeah. Their combined power, especially when boosted by effect cards, was just more straightforward and less resource-intensive than sinking, 7 or 8 deploy points into a single high-risk Jedi duelist who might still lose the duel or get removed before they can act.
And DOTF itself kind of accidentally helped the non-dueling strategy, didn't it, by making effect cards better?
That's the irony, yeah. DOTF allowed players to guarantee one effect card per planet. Effects like, say, Naboo Royal Security Forces, which gives a flat bonus to a whole group of characters. That made the mass deployment strategy even more predictable and powerful. So a lot of top players still prioritize just raw battle efficiency and flooding the board to win 2 locations quickly rather than investing in the more complex and sometimes fragile dueling strategy.
Okay, so if Duel of the Fates was about adding strategic depth, maybe fixing some issues, the next set, Reflections, which came out in July 2001, feels like a totally different beast, more aimed at collectors, maybe.
That's a very accurate way to put it, yeah. Based on the source material, Reflections, which was set 7, by the way, landed just 2 months before the final expansion, and it was pretty widely seen as, let's say, a way for Decipher to move some old stuff out of the warehouse.
Okay. So clearing inventory.
Pretty much. The main content was just foil versions of cards from earlier sets.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of foils. It definitely leaned hard into the collectible part of TCGs.
So not strictly necessary if you just wanted to play the game competitively?
Generally, no. But it did introduce 3 completely new card formats. And graphically, they were pushing the boundaries of what a card looked like.
Unique, you mean?
Unique is one word for it.
Yeah.
They definitely look different, though sometimes they also looked exactly like what they were. They were kind of a quick attempt to mash existing stuff together.
Okay, let's break them down. First one, the Armed and Dangerous cards. A&D, these caused some waves, right? Power creep issues.
Oh, yeah. A&D cards basically took a character and permanently fused a weapon onto them. One single unit, character plus weapon, right on the card.
So super efficient.
Absurdly efficient, like the Aurra Sing A&D card. 4 deploy cost, which isn't bad. But she immediately started with 7 power plus her destiny draw. That's like high-cost Jedi power, but for way cheaper.
Wow. But the sources mentioned they didn't always look great.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. The design literally involved layering 2 existing card images and text boxes. Sometimes you could see, like, crop lines or weird overlaps. One source even called them Photoshop-esque, with awkward black squares left over where one image didn't quite cover the old background.
Yikes.
So, yeah, powerful, definitely unique looking, but maybe more of a collector's curiosity than peak graphic design.
Okay, format 2. The dual benefit cards. Let's start with combo battle cards. How did these work? And what's the key difference compared to the double impact ones?
Right, combo battle cards, there were 14 of these. They basically took 2 existing battle cards and squished them onto one physical card, usually stacked vertically, with a kind of merged picture.
Okay, and the rule?
The critical thing here, when you play a combo battle card, both benefits apply simultaneously.
Both. So if it combines, say, a power boost and making your opponent discard, you get both effects.
That's exactly right. For instance, combo card C5, we'll probably come back to this one, combine Fear Attracts the Fearful and How Would. When you played it, you got the full effect of both of those original cards.
Okay, so if both benefits apply, then this is definitely not the time for me to ask, why Mesa always the one to choose which effect happens? That's for the other type, right?
Precisely. Excellent restraint. You do not choose with combo battle cards. You get the whole package, both barrels, which is totally different from the third new format, double impact cards.
Right, the double impact ones. These always seem to cause confusion because they look similar. 2 cards mashed together, but the gameplay is completely different.
It really is. Double impact cards also combined a pair of cards. Could be 2 battle cards, or often a battle card and an effect card. The big visual clue was a clear diagonal slash across the image, dividing the 2 halves.
Okay. And the rule here?
When you play a double impact card, you must choose only one of the 2 benefits shown. It's like a little toolbox, but you can only use one tool each time you play the card.
A choice. Okay. And didn't the way you played the card sometimes dictate which choice you had?
Yes, exactly. If the card was a mix of battle and effect, its role determined its function. If you were deploying a double impact card, like putting it into play face up or hidden, you had to use the effect card benefits.
Okay.
But if you were putting it into your battle plan stack, intending to use it during a fight later, you had to use the battle card benefits.
So it gave you flexibility depending on whether you needed an ongoing effect or a combat trick, but still only one effect per play.
Correct. Limited activation, but flexible depending on the situation.
All right, so we've got these supercharged A&D characters and these versatile combo and double impact cards. Sounds powerful. Why weren't competitive decks just filled with these? Why didn't they dominate?
Well, we come back to the fundamental truth, the central dogma of competitive young Jedi.
Let me guess. Destiny is king.
Destiny is king, always. The fatal flaw, the Achilles heel of many of these cool new reflection cards was the destiny number problem.
What happened?
When Decipher designed these combo and double impact cards, balancing them meant they often had to reduce the destiny numbers to compensate for the extra power or versatility.
Oh.
So many of these cards ended up with destiny numbers of, like, 3.
Yeah.
Or even 4, which is still pretty low.
And a destiny of 3 in young Jedi is, well, it's practically useless in a fight, right? Especially for triggering weapons.
It's a massive drawback, yeah. So much relies on that destiny draw, winning ties, activating weapon powers that need a specific number. If you stuff your deck full of these otherwise cool cards that all have terrible destiny numbers,
you tank your deck's average destiny. You make yourself way less likely to win crucial draws in combat.
Exactly. You sacrifice consistency and hitting those important weapon triggers for situational flexibility or raw power that might not even matter if you lose the destiny phase.
So Reflections really does sound like primarily a collector's set then. Gorgeous, rare foils, these unique experimental card formats that look cool, but often they were actually worse to play with than standard cards because of those low destiny numbers.
That sums it up pretty well. It's super collectible now. Those foils, especially the ones marked foil super rare or foil very rare, are highly sought after. And the A&D cards are definitely unique, even if they looked a bit rough sometimes.
Right.
But for someone focused purely on playing the game, maybe grabbing 1 or 2 specific combo cards aside, it was largely an optional buy, not essential for the core experience.
Which kind of reinforces our mandate for you, the listener. You don't need to hunt down this incredibly rare, expensive set to enjoy the deep strategy the game effectively offered.
Okay, so if DOTF added a combat layer, and Reflections was Reflections, then Boonta Eve Podrace, or BEP, Set 8, released September 2001. This one introduced something entirely new, a whole separate game structure.
The objective card.
Exactly. And with it, a completely alternate path to victory. No need to battle for locations at all.
This one directly mirrors the movie climax, right?
Yeah.
Win the big race on Tatooine, win the whole game.
That's the idea. The core is the Boonta Eve Classic objective card itself. Now, this card is unique. You have to include it in your 60-card deck, counts against the limit. But it starts the game already in play. Always face up. No deploy cost, no destiny number. It just sits there.
And it had another function, too, didn't it? Something about flexibility?
Yes. It was also a wild card. It had 3 white dots representing yellow, purple, and orange positions. This meant it could substitute for a battle card, a weapon card, or a location starship card when you were building your deck. Give you a lot of flexibility.
Very handy. Okay, so how do you win with it? The condition sounds simple.
Deceptively simple? Maybe. You just have to complete 3 laps of the pod race. Yeah. If you do that, you instantly win, like immediately. Your opponent just discards their entire deck. Game over.
Whoa, okay. Discard their entire deck. That's brutal.
It's sudden death. No chance for a comeback.
All right, so how do you actually start racing?
First step, you need to deploy a specific pod racer pilot. You know, Anakin, Sebulba, Gasgano, characters like that, and their matching pod racer weapon card. And you deploy them directly to the objective card.
So they're not at a location. They can't be attacked normally.
Correct. They're considered in play, but effectively off the main map.
Okay.
Immune to standard combat.
Okay. And the racing itself relies on 2 key stats in the pilot card, right? Thrust and handling. Let's pause on thrust first. Speed.
Right. Thrust basically determines your maximum speed, or more accurately, the maximum number of lap cards you can play during your deploy step each turn.
Lap cards, what are those?
Lap cards are any non-location cards from your draw deck. And to complete a lap, you have to play them in a rigid sequence. Destiny 1, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, and finally 6.
1 through 6, in order. Got it. How does the pilot actually get thrust? Do they start with it?
Nope. All pilots start at 0 thrust. Then, during each of your deploy steps, you simply place 1 thrust token on your pilot card, just 1 per step.
So it builds up over turns.
Yes. And crucially, this was another mechanic that needed a post-release fix. A later rule established that thrust tokens max out at 4. You can't accumulate more than 4.
4 tokens max. Why was that limit so important? Seems kind of arbitrary.
It was absolutely essential for game balance. Without that cap, if you could get, say, 5 or 6 thrust, or even theoretically infinite thrust eventually.
You could just play the entire 1 through 6 sequence in a single turn.
Potentially, yes. Or very, very quickly. It could make the race basically an automatic win, turning the game into just a solitaire math problem.
Ah, okay.
With a max of 4 thrust, you can play up to 4 lap cards per turn. Since a full lap needs 6 cards, 1 through 6, the absolute fastest you can complete a lap takes 2 turns.
Right, like play 1, 2, 3, 4 on turn 1, then 5, 6 on turn 2.
Exactly. So 3 laps requires a bare minimum of 6 turns to win, 6 turns if everything goes perfectly.
6 turns is still pretty fast, but it means you absolutely have to find those exact cards, 1 through 6, in sequence from your deck within those 6 turns. No room for error.
0 room for error. If you miss playing even one required lap card during that sequence, the 6-turn win is off the table. It gets delayed.
Yeah.
And that's where the second and frankly much weirder pilot stat comes in. Handling.
Handling. Okay, I read about this. This is bizarre. It's based on the pilot's collector number. Seriously.
Seriously. The last digit of the pilot's collector number, it sounds completely nuts, like something they made up at the last minute.
Was there any reason given for why they did it that way? It seems so random.
The thinking, according to the sources, was to embed a kind of hidden internal wildcard system into the pilots themselves without having to print a bunch of extra rules text on every pilot card. Players would have to, discover and calculate this.
Okay. So how does the handling number actually work in the race?
Right. So whatever that last digit is, that's the pilot's handling number. Let's say it's 5. That number allows you, the player, to use any card from your hand that has a destiny of 5 as a handling card.
And a handling card acts as that.
It acts as a wild card for the lap sequence. It can represent any number, 1 through 6, that you currently need to play.
Whoa. Okay, so if I need to play the 4 card for my lap sequence, but I don't have a Destiny 4 card, but I do have a Destiny 5 card, and my pilot's handling is 5.
You can play that Destiny 5 card and declare it's acting as the number 4 lap card for your sequence.
Exactly.
And lets you plug gaps. Huge flexibility.
But there's a limit, right? You can't just use handling for every card.
Correct. You can play a maximum of 3 cards as handling cards per completed lap. So up to half the sequence can be fudged using your handling number, but you still need to draw at least 3 of the correct destiny numbers naturally.
Okay, that makes it strategic. But relying on the collector number, that must have created some pilots who were just terrible for racing, right? If they got unlucky with their number.
Oh, tragically so.
Yeah.
The sources specifically point out poor Ben Quadranaros. His collector number ends in 0.
Handling of 0.
Yep. And since there are basically no cards in Young Jedi with a destiny of 0, his handling ability is completely useless.
Ouch. Anyone else?
Rat's Tyrell is another example. His handling is 7.
Yeah.
Also useless because Destiny 7 cards just weren't a thing in the game. So yeah, picking a pilot with a bad handling number severely handicaps your ability to smooth out your draws.
Man, imagine pulling Ben Quadranaros as your rare. Anyway. So we have thrust, we have handling, we have the 1 through 6 sequence. It sounds complex, maybe a bit fiddly, but potentially balanced after the thrust errata. But when BEP first came out, it wasn't balanced at all, was it? It was called broken.
Oh, completely broken. It immediately wrecked the meta. There was one specific light side deck archetype that could achieve the pod racing win almost automatically, like clockwork.
Because they could find the lap cards too easily.
Way too easily. We need to talk about Jira, Pally Vendor, also known as the Scourge.
Jira. Okay, explain the Jira chain. Why was this one little one deploy card so devastating for the pod racing meta?
Okay, so Jira herself was already pretty good. Red dot character, only 1 deploy cost, fantastic 5 destiny, solid utility. But her game text was the killer. When you deployed her, she let you search your deck for a card titled Anakin's Friends characters, like Wald or Kitster.
Okay, search is always powerful.
But wait, there's more. Those friends, once they were deployed, their game text let them search for other cards.
Yeah.
Including potentially more copies of Jira or other key pieces.
Oh no, so it's a chain reaction, a cascade.
An absolute cascade. You play 1 Jira from your hand, she fetches a friend. The friend fetches another card, maybe another Jira, or a specific lap card you need. That second Jira fetches another friend. You see where this is going?
Yeah, you could basically pull half your deck into your hand on turn 1.
Pretty much. A single Jira could trigger a chain that pulled maybe 5 or more cards instantly.
Yeah.
So the pod racing player wasn't relying on luck or draw speed at all. They were just assembling the entire 1 through 6 sequence in their hand, immediately using this search chain, while their opponent was maybe deploying their first character.
So the 6-turn win wasn't just possible, it was practically guaranteed.
It became a statistical certainty. The opponent had almost no way to interact or stop it before the race was over. It was bad, really threatened to kill competitive play.
Okay, so how did Decipher fix this massive problem?
They had to act fast. They brought down the nerf hammer with a two-pronged approach. First, Jira herself got irrated. She became non-stackable, meaning only one copy of Jira could be in play at any time.
Ah, that breaks the chain. One Jira plays, fetches a friend, but that friend can't fetch another Jira if one's already out.
Exactly. Killed the cascade dead in its tracks, instantly slowed down the deck cycling.
And the second part of the fix.
The second part was implementing that thrust limit we talked about earlier, capping the tokens at 4 per pilot.
Right. But if the Jira chain was the main problem for finding the cards, why did the thrust cap still matter so much after she was nerfed? Weren't players still aiming for that 6-turn win?
They were, but the thrust cap fundamentally changed the timing and risk. With Jira neutralized, racers actually had to wait for thrust to build up turn by turn, 1 token per deploy step. Maxing out at 4 thrust meant that even if you drew perfectly, getting all your 1/6 cards exactly when needed, the opponent still had 6 full turns to try and win the normal way by capturing 2 locations.
Ah, it bought the non-racing player time.
Crucial time. And it made the racer vulnerable. If the battling player could disrupt the lap sequence, even once maybe use a Tusken Raider card to force a discard, or somehow remove the pilot, the racer's whole 6-turn plan falls apart. They get delayed, giving the battler the window they need.
So the fixes turned pod racing from an almost guaranteed exploit into a super high-risk, high-reward strategy.
Exactly. You needed perfect deck efficiency, careful management of your handling cards, good draws, and you had to hope your opponent couldn't disrupt you before you crossed the finish line after 6 intense turns. Much more balanced.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of complex mechanics layered on top of each other. To master all that, you really have to collect, play, trade, feel the force.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, let's address the Gumgan in the swamp again. We keep coming back to Jar Jar Binks, and that listener feedback is still ringing in my audio receptors. Like, we're winging this deep dive. It's all driven by that foil pull from episode 1.
It's hard to completely deny the perception, isn't it? Because he just keeps popping up. He's a constant thread, mechanically and thematically, right through to these final sets.
Okay, make the case. Prove this isn't just our weird, unplanned obsession. Why is discussing him necessary for understanding these expansions?
Well, think about what we've just discussed. His specific rare card, Jar Jar Binks, Gungan Chupa Thief, that #F2 foil that started it all, is a rare stackable character. Being stackable is a big deal mechanically.
Right, allows for multiplying effects.
He was also central to certain deck types, like those efficient Super Saver Gungans builds that tried to leverage low costs. And maybe most relevant to today's discussion, his very presence influenced the design of those new card formats in Reflections.
You mean the combo battle cards?
Exactly. Combo card C5, what was it? Fear attracts the fearful. Combined with How Wooed.
Ah, How Wooed. Okay, yeah. That's undeniably Jar Jar.
His catchphrases, his character beats, they were literally baked into the card text and flavor of these new mechanics we just spent time dissecting.
Yeah.
And let's not forget the dark side mocking him in Duel of the Fates with no giving up General Jar Jar. He's just embedded in the game's DNA.
It's inescapable. Okay, point taken. But, despite this clear, constant, maybe even pathological focus on the character, I still find myself stumbling over the pronunciation of his full name, Jar Jar Binks. It's ironic, isn't it? We're supposed to be obsessed, but saying it consistently is a struggle for my droid processors.
Maybe we should just call him Binks. Would that be easier? Less processing load.
Tempting. Very tempting. But no, we must strive for accuracy, honor the source material. Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks, right? It's the repetition, perhaps, throws off the core programming.
Jar Binks. Okay. Got it locked. For now. Anyway. All this complexity we've explored, the layers of dueling after the errata, the weird math of pod racing handling, the emergency nerfs to cards like Jira Game, it brings us to a big final question for you, the listener. When you look back at Young Jedi, especially with these final complex sets, is it ultimately a fun game to play, or is it really just more fun to collect?
That's the million credit question, isn't it? We should probably lay out the arguments for both sides fairly.
Okay, argument for playing. What's the case?
Well, the core game is fast. Fights are usually quick, decisive. A whole game might only take 10, maybe 15 minutes. That's appealing.
True.
And as we see today, it evolved way beyond simple battles. It developed real strategic depth. You had the dueling subgame needing careful resource management. Pod racing demanded precision, deck building, and timing. Wildcards added variance. It became genuinely complex, high-level play.
And the fact that Decipher did step in with major rule changes, fixing dueling targets, nerfing Jira, capping thrust, that shows they were trying to maintain competitive balance. Right, they wanted skill to matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It suggests a commitment to making it a playable, balanced game, even late in its life. And hey, it even won CCG of the Year from Inquest Gamer magazine at one point. That's not nothing. That speaks to its strategic chops.
Plus, you ended up with two very different ways to win battle for locations, or go for the Podrace objective. That variety probably kept things interesting.
Definitely gave the meta more dimensions, even with a relatively small card pool overall compared to other TCGs. Okay, so that's the case for playing.
Now, flip side, the argument for just collecting.
Well, the basic TCG model needs constant sales, right? But the original Young Jedi starter decks were fixed. There wasn't much reason to buy lots of them, which kind of undercut the chase aspect early on.
Good point.
And the later sets, especially Reflections, leaned heavily into collectability over playability.
With all the foils.
So many foils, high-rarity foils, super rare foils, very rare foils. And those unique card formats like Armed and Dangerous. They look striking, they're scarce, they're visually interesting, great pieces for a binder.
But as we established, often not actually that good to put in a competitive deck because of those low destiny numbers.
Exactly. The most visually unique and rarest cards were often functionally worse than common high destiny staples. That creates a disconnect for players. Do you build the best deck or the coolest looking one?
Right.
So the collecting appeal ends up being driven a lot by nostalgia for Episode I, the thrill of finding those super rare foils, the unique look of the A&D cards. It becomes more about the objects themselves than their in-game function.
So it's a game that definitely grew beyond its simple beginnings. It got really deep, mechanically complex right before it ended. But the way it was sold, especially at the end, seemed to prioritize scarcity and novelty sometimes over pure gameplay utility.
It's kind of a dual legacy, yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent, evolving game design paired with a late-stage marketing strategy that really pushed the rarity angle. So to wrap it all up, this final trilogy, Duel of the Fates, Reflections, Boonta Eve Podrace really did transform Young Jedi. It went from a straightforward battle game to this much more sophisticated system.
Yeah.
You had dueling minigames, complex combo cards, alternate win conditions via the objective. It got deep right at the finish line.
Indeed. We've analyzed the power of Aurra Sing's dueling, the truly bizarre math behind pod racing handling, why Jira desperately needed that nerf, and of course the ongoing irony of our own Gungan fixation.
A lot of processing power dedicated to this.
A significant amount. So we leave you, the listener, with one final provocative thought, building on this whole Jar Jar thread.
Okay.
Considering the depth of analysis we provided today, the constant struggles with pronunciation, the undeniable links between him and some major game mechanics and exploits, and acknowledging that our focus on him feels, frankly, completely unplanned and maybe even irrational.
Get to the point.
Which one of us, which host, do you think was more Jar Jar Binks obsessed during this particular deep dive?
Decide for yourself, listener.
And may the Force be with you.
Until next time.